my classroom of scholarly students, all waiting to hear what I have to say. Stuck at work in a blizzard. Let's finish the video today. Good evening, class. Today I'd like to talk to you guys about the psychology of positive thinking and what that can do and how that can change your life. For my first reference point, I'm going to be using the critically acclaimed book and movie series, The Secret. The whole basis of The Secret is the theory of attraction. Now, the theory of attraction states that with initiative, optimism, and faith, one can attain anything their heart desires. What that means yet is a bit ambiguous, but we'll get more into it as we keep talking. Now, a critical question you want to ask while watching this movie as a scientist is, does this series hold scientific merit? Is there evidence to base off of? Of course. So, what this movie does well is reference a lot of different specialists and analysts, all who claim to be secret teachers, or people who have attained the power of the theory of attraction and have seen it succeed in their lives. Now, I did a little bit of research on each of these three. Dr. Joe Vitale, Bob Proctor, and Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, all who claim to have been affected and positively affected by the theory of attraction. Now, in the movie itself, I pulled out a few quotes that seem a bit too far-fetched to be real. For example, Dr. Joe Vitale, who is a metaphysician, still unclear from where he got his degree, stated, "You can have anything you want." Now, I highlighted the word "anything" because that word is just too vague, too open. It doesn't really apply to science. You know, there's no definite anything. Bob Proctor, who is a philosopher, stated, and I quote, 1% of the population earns about 96% of the money being earned. Now, I write here no reference because there was absolutely no reference. I looked up the statistic. Didn't make much sense. It didn't show up anywhere except when Bob Proctor quoted it. And finally, the Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, who is a visionary, stated, "It always works. It works every time, with every person." Three key words, all of which state the same thing, that it's a guarantee. Nothing in science is guaranteed. My next source comes from Dr. Martin Seligman and his lecture on the new era of positive thinking. A brief bio on Mr. Seligman. He was born August 12, 1942. He's an accomplished American psychologist, and his theory of learned helplessness is well known, among psychologists today. He's a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, and he was declared the president of the United States Psychology Association in 1998. So, a summary of the lecture. Dr. Seligman discusses in his lecture the past, present, and future of psychology and the pros and cons of the diseased mind. And this is the concept of, psychology was made for those who are sick or have a chemical imbalance in their head, and it's not so much for helping those who want to achieve more in their life. And so this was the main belief for the past 60 years. Psychology was based off of the diseased mind model. Because of the model, the science of psychology was developed to classify and understand causality and invent treatments. So that was a pro. We better understood some of the dysfunction and disorders that were going on in some people's head. However, psychologists lost touch with their main objective and forgot about improving normal lives as well as those who needed them. And they forgot about positive intervention. So after Seligman discusses this, he kind of goes in more depth about what positive psychology looks like and what it is in today's day. And there are three different forms of a happy life. He talks about there's a theoretical formula that goes along with this, and he did extensive research on these topics himself. And the research was conducted and recorded at www.authentichappiness.org. So the 3 happy lives, the pleasant life, PA, is when you put as much positive emotion as you possibly can into anything that you do, and you can amplify those skills. The next is the good life, or engagement, which is pleasure versus flow. And this is when one becomes obsessed or passionate with something, and they forget altogether about feelings, and they just focus on that, and that's another form of happiness. And the last is the meaningful life, which is knowing your strengths and knowing how to use them to help serve a greater purpose. Now, the equation measures life satisfaction and does this through these 3 happy lives. And it goes based off like this. LS, or life satisfaction, equals PA, the pleasant life, plus engagement, the good life, plus meaning, the meaningful life. Now, PA was the lowest, and it was the margin. The good life scored in the middle, and meaning scored the strongest and most significant for having a life satisfaction. However, it's understood that without all 3, you cannot have the full life, and with neither of them, you will have the empty life. In conclusion, he discusses a lot about technology and the 11th reason for optimism, which is technology has taken a turn for the worse nowadays. In Mr. Seligman's eyes, he feels like it's too bashful and too negative. So in order to help the psychology of the world, he would like for technology and psychology to kind of coincide in a more positive fashion and let people use that and basically create a more positive psychology throughout the world using technology the way that it's used today, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it has the potential to increase PA, engagement, meaningful life, to make the state of today's psychology good enough, as he states in the video. As for myself, well, I have a few years of experience dealing with many different kinds of stress. In particular, right now I work security, and there is so many different types of things one can stress out about on this job. In fact, I think that's the main point of this job. But fact of the matter is, it's how you deal with this stress that makes a huge difference, and it can be life or death for some situations. For example, a bomb threat or a fire in the building. If I don't know what to do and I stress out and I overreact or underreact, that could be somebody's life on the line right there on the spot. So I have to understand that. I have to put my personal feelings aside, and I have to go get focused and understand what are some of the fire safety escapes, or where's the fire department. I have to take them to the fire panel, some of the bigger decisions, or for some of the smaller things, some of the logistical things. One of the gates isn't opening, somebody can't get their car inside the building to go to work. I have to call the property manager, make sure everything's okay, make sure I call my site supervisor, everything's good over there on that end, and write down everything on an incident report, make sure everything's up to date so that we can manage and fix the problem. Now, my whole thing is optimism is key. Being friendly and courteous to people around you kind of enables them to do the same for you. And so when stressful situations occur, if you remain calm and kind, that will stick out in somebody's mind, and they will follow you and they will listen to you, because they know that inside their head, they know that you know what you're doing, and they know that they can follow you. And that is the example I'm trying to lead by. Hardiness took me a few years to attain, but it was a lot of different jobs that kind of helped me get through it. Anywhere from bad managers to bad co-workers or customers, to even myself not understanding the job. All these things brought so much stress to me, my high school career. Now that I'm a little bit older, I understand why and how. I know that I can apply that now to my new job, and right now my new job is going great because I know some of the mannerisms that I didn't prior to dealing with authority figures. I know how to bite my tongue, I know how to be polite, and I know how to get my point across as well. That all came from hardiness. And self-efficacy, well, I've always been a driven person. I always felt like no matter what it is, there's always another option, there's always another way. and there's no such thing as no. Well, when it comes to me attaining things, success, there's no such thing as no. I know there's another way. And so that belief drives me to continue to perceive for something greater. And so applying all three happy lives, I'm not going to say that I'm happy, but I'm getting there.